So currently it is about 5 o'clock and I am on my way to the show in Kansas City. I'm going to the T-Mobile Arena to see Bad Omens, Beartooth, and President. Kind of wanted to just make a little vlog on my way to kind of get my thoughts on what I expect. Since I have a 3-hour drive each way, I might as well kind of document what I'm expecting and kind of how it turns out. So first things first, I was planning on going to this show, but then I looked at the ticket prices and they were kind of insane. And I did make a video about that, and then I was saying later in that video that I probably will not go and I'll just go see him at Incarceration. But I did keep monitoring the ticket prices and the fluctuations, and I'll put a screenshot somewhere like up here. But basically I got my ticket for $116.16 or something like that, which was basically the cheapest that you could get it. President is the opener, and obviously everybody says they're an industry plant because they're on the same record label as Sleep Token, and they are very similar structure-wise. I listened to their whole discography, all 7 songs, which I'm just looked at the set list for tonight and the previous shows, and they basically play their whole discography for their set list. And they just released a single called Angel Wings, I believe. Anyway. Which is also on the set list, but I just don't understand how you can say they're not just kind of industry plants at this point. I'm kind of curious to see how they perform, because I think acoustically and sonically they're very sound, but it's very formulaic in what they produce, and I don't like all the production and the sound effects that are put on the vocals primarily is my problem with it. I'm really curious to see how the singer performs with the mask on, because it doesn't look like a very comfortable mask. But I have not seen Beartooth live, and I'm really curious because I love Caleb's aggressive vocal style and how raw it sounds. But live, that can be very harsh and very hard on your vocals. Honestly, I'm in the perfect show on the tour though, because they just started this tour, and I think this is show like 3 or 4. So all the bands have kind of gotten the groove of what the shows are like day in or day out, and they're not as fatigued, so they can kind of give it more. They also had a day off yesterday, so they're coming off fresh, so I don't really have any excuses for them not to be performing at their best. I know sometimes aggressive singers like Caleb can kind of struggle later in tours with travel and all that stuff. So barring sickness, I don't expect any complaints from any of the performers tonight. Beartooth is probably going to play. The only song I don't like is the Attention song. I don't forget what the name of it is called. But they're playing all songs I enjoy throughout their set list. So I think I'm going to be the most active during Beartooth's set list. It's going to be the most party vibes. And I'm kind of excited for their new album. They're going to play an unreleased track for tonight, and I think it comes out tomorrow, which is Friday the 27th. So that's super exciting to hear songs that come out before they actually like release to the public. And then when it comes to Bad Omens, like I said, I saw them once earlier, and I'm a huge Bring Me the Horizon fan. They're my most favorite band. So obviously I'm gonna be a Bad Omens fan, you know what I mean? I really didn't care for the first couple albums. I mean, the first one sounded really like raw, and the second one I only like the deluxe edition of. And then the third album, I forget the name of it, it's the orange one with the lady bent over with the broken back. I think that's a perfect album though, and I really love that album, and I feel like that's their style sonically and where they kind of perfected everything. And now with their newer stuff, I feel like they're riding the success of a perfect album, and they kind of know regardless of what they put out, it's not going to be as good as that album was. They put out an EP recently with like four or five songs, and sonically it's more radio friendly, and Noah is not appearing to be doing any more screams. Again, it kind of seems like they're following the Bring Me the Horizon formula and their career moves and everything. So I don't blame them, because it's obviously successful in what's worked and they're selling out arenas. So, you know, hats off to him. I think Noah's very talented and he can do whatever he wants. And I feel like some audience members will appreciate him screaming and others singing. So it's just kind of my preference. And at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. But the only song I think I wanted to see on the set list was The Gray. But other than that, they're playing most of all the songs that I really wanted to see live. So finally seeing Bad Omens headlining in the US, that's going to be an amazing memory, and I don't think I'm going to remember how tired I am at work the next day. Like, obviously we're going to be exhausted, but I'm going to be pretty much tired if I was just going to be going home today and going to work. So might as well get a cool memory out of it. And for my budget, I'm guessing I'm going to spend $150, $115 for the ticket. I already filled up once, and I'm probably gonna fill up again. So I'm gonna say like $50 total for gas. So that's $165. And I might buy an alcoholic beverage at the show. So that's probably $40. So let's just say $200. $200 is my budget. I will let you know at the end of the video how much I actually spent and if I get merch or whatever.
Because hope is choosing to find meaning in a meaningless world.
Well, my hands never felt so alone. See the path in my head, scared of where it goes. Do I love it? Do I hate it? I wanna know. Am I really lonely? Or am I the reason I'm alone? But I know something you don't know. I'm free, I'm free, I'm free, I'm free, I'm free.
So it's officially the next day after the concert, and I'm on my lunch break after work. The show was good, and I kind of just wanted to put my thoughts together. I'm kind of sleep deprived right now, so it's kind of a challenging task. So I'm just kind of trying to put my thoughts together. I got back home from the show at like 1:45 in the morning last night, and then I got up for work at 6 a.m. And then I went to work, and currently I'm on my lunch break. It's like 1:30. So I got about 10 minutes to talk about what my experience was like and kind of just give my thoughts. So very little sleep, like I said. I made a video of myself going to the concert. I had some troubles getting into the venue. The place I had routed in the GPS. Once I got there, they said they were cash only. Kind of just made a lap around the venue, saw a huge line of people outside of what looks like to be a parking garage. And I saw they had a sign, and so then I went on the other entrance of the parking garage, got into that line. So it's $20, just had to walk a couple blocks to the venue. Finally got there, wasn't a big deal. Although once I walked into T-Mobile Arena, I was having a lot of questions, because normally when you go into venues for any sort of event, you have security before you scan your tickets, because if you have problems with security, they can let you go to your car or handle whatever situation you need to figure out before you scan your ticket. Because if you scan your ticket and then goes through security and then you have to go back to your car for some reason, then your ticket can't be scanned again and it becomes invalid. And so when I walked into T-Mobile Arena and they made me scan my ticket right away, which also I said in the video on the way there that I was like 5% nervous because it was through SeatGeek. I had no problems with the ticket, but it was sketchy because as soon as I walked in, I scanned the ticket and then went through security. And then I was met with this huge line scaling my entire vision from left to right, and I'm like initially just thinking this must be the merch line, since I was kind of early yet. President hadn't even taken the stage yet, and so I went and grabbed a beer, and then I went to the pit, or at least attempted to, and I must have been on the upper level. And then with T-Mobile Arena where I was at, you had to go up where I got in, and then you had to go all the way down to the floor, which is pretty common for a lot of arenas, which is also why I don't like arenas for a plethora of other reasons. But I couldn't get in because I didn't have my wristband, and then the lady who was working at the arena told me I needed a wristband, and I was like, so where's the wristbands? Normally you get that when you get your ticket scanned. She said, basically just turn around and look for the big line, and that's where you go. And I immediately was just like in defeat, because I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna go stand in this long line just for a ticket, or not even a ticket. This is just the wristband line to get on the floor. And it was a huge line of people. Like, I was kind of dumbfounded, because when I looked, I could kind of see in the arena when I went to that lady and see like a bunch of people on the floor already. So I was kind of dumbfounded by how many people were having the same experience, and I was just like so disappointed in the logistics of the actual venue, which is probably the worst part about this experience and this concert for me, was literally the venue. It had nothing to do with the bands. I think it's just the way this arena and all the parking and everything operates, which again, you can't really blame that on the artists, but it is a part of the entire experience when you go to see these huge shows. And the ticket prices were already crazy. I will put a screenshot somewhere of the cheapest ticket price I saw, what I paid, and the cheapest price was when I was literally walking into the door. Otherwise, I got the cheapest price I saw. Face value was expensive on its own, and my ticket was cheaper than face value. So I also drove 3 hours each way, which is a lot of dedication, I feel like. And I paid $20 for parking. I feel like, I don't know, I might be able to find a receipt or something, but it was $20 in tax, whatever that is, for parking. So I'll just call it $20 plus my ticket price. I did buy 2 drinks at the venue, 2 beers, and one I drank literally just sitting in line trying to get my wristband, and the other I drank just sitting in between, like waiting for the bands to play. Because after I got in I went in to get into the initial wristband line, like the lady told me to get in, and I met somebody called who called my shirt, who said something about my shirt, that they liked my shirt or whatever. And then I was chatting them up, and then I met somebody named Logan, and he was a really cool guy, and I ended up getting a lot of footage from the concert from him. So shout out to Logan if you see this. And I hung out with him most of the show, turns out. He was a really cool guy, but basically he was already staying in line, and then I came up and we were waiting in line for these wristbands together, and one of the concert or venue staff said, hey, if you go to the other end of the venue, there's no line. So like a herd of cow, we all go to the other end of the stadium, and then we get trapped in a line that's the actual merch line. So we waste a bunch of time there, and we ended up going to the actual line we were supposed to be into. So I ended up waiting in these like 3 separate lines, like 10 minutes each. So I spent like 30 minutes in line, and I basically missed all of President's set. I did catch like the last song in completion and like the end of the set, but their entire set was the entire discography, and I missed it. And so I was pretty bummed about that, honestly. For what I did see from President, I was surprised. I thought they were better than what I expected. I thought the mask and everything was going to affect them a lot more. Like I said, it's kind of hard to judge them based off of seeing one track live, but they were better than what I expected, and I'm excited to see more from them. The only thing I hated about them originally was the vocal effects, but I think they're all very talented musicians, and they put on a great live performance. So I'm definitely excited to check out more from that. But like I said, I can't really comment anything else on President's performance because I spent the entire time just trying to get a wristband. I literally went into the venue, scanned my ticket, got a beer like within 5 minutes. That all took me 5 minutes. And then I spent the next like 30 minutes trying to get my wristband. Finally got my wristband, and then I grabbed another beer to go down to the floor. And then I was on the floor the rest of the night. And so it was kind of crazy. Also, I did get to see the merch while I was walking in line to the other line. Like I said, I was stuck in the merch line there for like 10 minutes. And all the merch is just crazy priced. All of it's a lot cheaper online. Like when it comes to the vinyls and stuff, like the stuff I'd be interested in. I didn't see any like poster or anything signed. It looked like a bunch of standard tour merch shirts, and they had some vinyl variants, but it didn't look like anything special, and it's all cheaper online. So I didn't buy any merch, and the line for the merch was like an additional 15 to 20 minutes. So if you want merch, you're gonna have to spend a lot of time and a lot of money. So that's just a heads up for you. I'm sure I can find a picture online of what the actual merch line was. I didn't take a picture myself because I was running late, but I'm sure I can find a picture for you. And then anyhow, after President, it was Beartooth. Super excited to see Beartooth. Glad to see Caleb and Beartooth. And I have a lot of thoughts on this set. Personally, I don't want to speak too much on Caleb as like a person because I don't know him as a person. But it seems like he has gone through a lot in his own personal life, and he's shown a lot of that through his music throughout the years. And I mean, he has been touring and been on the road since he was literally like a child, since he was like 16 years old or something like that. So I cut him a lot of slack, but I feel like I could definitely tell he was going to catch some of this flack that is going to come when this Free song came out. When the song came out, we saw it live, which was the day before it came out. It came out today, and there's already like a bunch of comments online I've seen, like backlash, and I don't get why people care so much really about what he does. Like, if you don't like it, don't listen to it. Like, there's just so much music out there. It's kind of weird to me that people choose to care what Caleb does in his life and his band. Like, if you like the old Beartooth stuff, listen to it. They still perform it. The set was amazing. My only complaints, and the actual complaints that you could have, is like against the live performances. I wanted to say that I was worried about Caleb's voice. I think I said that in the video on the way there, and it kind of showed. You can tell he's a very powerful performer and vocalist. So at parts, it is kind of hard for him to belt and strain his voice like that. And it was only the third show of the tour, and so I'm kind of wondering how the later shows in the tour went. But also, he seemed very emotional, and I don't know if this was like something he's doing at every show, but he was like crying and very emotional the entire set and talking about like how he needed this. And I don't know. I'm just wishing him nothing but happiness in everything he does. I've been a fan of him and his work for a while now, and it's just kind of weird to like see the roller coaster of everything after a long period of time. So I kind of like saw some people in the crowd talking about when that song came out. In the crowd, they were talking about kind of the same backlash and whiplash stuff that's been posted online, and it's just like, who cares at the end of the day? Outside of that, I don't really have any complaints. I thought Beartooth was great, and I definitely see them again. But yeah, it was a good time, good show. And then the main finale that everybody was there for was Bad Omens, and Bad Omens was a great time. It was a really good long set, great production, great stage design and visuals, and I think their team is really great on the back end, setting everything up. My main complaint though is the amount of backing tracks that Noah uses, and I get the backing track thing. I feel like a lot of artists use backing tracks nowadays, but I feel like your bass player and your guitar player can do more of the vocals than the amount of backing tracks you're putting in. And like I said, I don't know how much everything was in terms of like the ratios of everything, and I was moving in different parts of the crowd throughout the night. I tried to get in the mosh pit later, but earlier in the set I was far back. But once I got up closer, I noticed a lot more that there were some more backing tracks. It's just really kind of hard to tell when you're moving a lot throughout this set, so I don't want to be like screaming from the mountaintops that it was terrible, because it was a great live show. Like 10 out of 10, would definitely see it again. My main beef though, outside of the backing track, was the crowd. The crowd was just honestly terrible. The crowd surfers were not the problem. It's the people who don't know how to handle crowd surfers and don't look out for each other and just drop people. There's no mosh pits. There was one for maybe 2 songs that I try to get into, and Noah kind of just begs the crowd for interaction and for movement, and there's just none throughout the entire set. And it kind of just takes away from the performance if you're not engaging in that, to see him begging for it. And I don't know, it's just kind of weird. It's a weird atmosphere when you're used to going and moshing the entire time and crowd surfing to like people yelling at other people for crowd surfing and for moshing, and then there's, I don't know, it's just a different atmosphere, different vibe, and it's just not what I look for in the concert experience. I probably wouldn't go 6 hours to drive again for this show, but if it was a show in my town, I would definitely go check it out. But don't spend money for the pit if you're trying to like be active or whatever. If you're just trying to see the show, buy the cheapest ticket possible is what I would recommend. The worst part about the show for me though, if I had to say, the top 3 negatives would definitely be the crowd, the venue, and the backing tracks. And the top 3 positives for me would probably seeing all these bands live. The production was so good for Bad Omens, and the stage design was so good for Bad Omens. President was a lot better than I expected, and I made a cool friend named Logan. So all in all, it was a very successful show. My thoughts are kind of combobulated. I'm a little bit sleep deprived. So I hope I covered everything that I wanted to cover. I might have to go back and revise this video or put some annotations up whenever I'm making it and editing. But anyways, if you watched the video, I appreciate you for watching this long, and I will see you in the next one.
Been a long 4 years, the death of peace of mind. Holy shit, we've covered some ground, huh? I'm not sure what we did to deserve this many people to come see us tonight, but I'm glad we did it. Before I keep rambling, can you do me a favor and please make some noise?